The 2024 Minnesota Vikings schedule has officially been released. What was rumored all over Twitter earlier today ended up being true. And this is the Minnesota Vikings schedule. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give you our quick thoughts. We're going to talk about the Vikings having two interesting stretches back to back that are going to matter when it comes time for the playoff run, and how the early schedule is going to determine a lot for this Minnesota Vikings team. Welcome to the Real Forno Show.
Welcome to the Real Forno Show, hosted by Tyler Forness, publisher at The Sporting News, contributor on SKOL North's Purple Daily, publisher of Substack Run In Shooter, the host of The Good, The Bad, and The Hungry on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, and a founding member of Vikings First and SKOL.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Real Forno Show. I am your host, Tyler Forness. With me, as always, Dave, you got to be kidding. They're telling us that there's echo.
I see that, and we had it fixed this morning. Absolutely worked. I have not shut down eCam since.
That's wild. Just incredible, Dave. We spent hours and hours trying to figure this out, and we thought we did. We did 4 tests earlier today, and just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I sincerely apologize to everybody. This is horseshit, and I feel bad.
You keep talking while I recycle my roadcaster.
Okay. Well, sorry guys, you're gonna have to deal with echo here for a little bit. Yeah. This is very frustrating because we thought we had it fixed, and it's apparently not. We're gonna try and figure this out. Just do. Dave L says your speaker settings are on oscillatorium. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing you do. Yeah, this is incredibly wild. But yeah, this is Chris, Prestige Worldwide. There you go. Just incredible. Oh, Dave, I just heard myself. Oh, it's good now. You fixed it. I don't know what you did, but
I turned off my roadcaster and turned it back on.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Welcome to the Real Forno Show, echo-free version 2.0. I'm your host, Tyler Forness. With me, as always, is producer Dave. And Minnesota Vikings schedule is out as I am continuing to post multiple pieces that I had done earlier today. And I think it's important to... Oh, yeah, I just heard the echo because I turned on my my YouTube. And, now it's bad again? Oh.
What?
None of this makes any sense. None of it makes any sense.
You got to be kidding me. What we thought it was that it was sharing system audio and causing the loop. And now it's doing it again. This is crazy because I've got system audio turned off. I have nothing open except for eCam.
I don't.
And it cleared up for the second. Let me reboot again. Keep talking.
Okay. Well, I apologize. You're just gonna have to deal with the echo, which really sucks because now we can't podcast this. This is. I'm very sorry. We've spent hours trying to fix this, and it's not working. And this is just infuriating. Absolutely bonkers stuff. Just bonkers. We might have to go to Bathroom Dave, honestly, because this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I know this is incredible content because you guys get to listen to the echo.
Keep
so
talking.
Frustrating. Yeah, sounds good again. So it's your roadcaster, Dave. It has to be. I don't know what our test did to say that it was good, but the echo's gone the second you. So that's got to be it, right?
Hey, back up now. Let us know if this goes again.
Yeah, if it echoes again, then it may just end up being your roadcaster. Because
which I'll call Road tomorrow again and tell them whatever it was didn't work.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this Minnesota Vikings schedule. There are a lot of things to talk about here. Okay. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about, Vikings only have 2 primetime games. 1, 2. That's it. 2 primetime games. And as I pull it up, it is
as of now.
Yeah. It is week 8 against the Los Angeles Rams. And looks like week 15 against the Chicago Bears. That's it. 1 Thursday night, 1 Monday night, no Sunday nights. But we also know that when it comes to what this is, what the schedule is, it is like I'm so tired and frustrated by all this. The words are not coming out of my mouth. It's kind of disrespectful where having only 2 primetime games after having 5 last year. Yeah, they won 13 games in 2022, which is why they had 5 last year. But they played well and they were entertaining, even though they went 7-10. And they have a rookie quarterback. And you would expect, okay, primetime games are probably going to be starting like week 8 or later. Give them like 3, maybe 4. And then you're going to get JJ McCarthy. You're going to get a rookie quarterback. You already have a good defense. You have a really good offensive core. No, 12 noon games. And 1 8:30. Then you're going to have 1 game at 3:05, and that's the Seattle Seahawks. Now, there could be modifications, but it does feel a little disrespectful that the Minnesota Vikings are only getting 2 primetime games. And I think we need to talk about that. And what's really funny is Kirk Cousins is going to have 4. And the Kirk Cousins game where he comes back is a noon game. How does that game end up a noon game, Dave?
I have no idea.
The tampering
I'm
stuff.
hoping that one gets flexed.
That it all depends on what it opposes. And as far as I know, we actually don't have a full NFL schedule that has been like released where you can see like week by week. The teams I get to release it first, and then I think the NFL releases like the full week by week schedule. So we'd have to see who are the primetime games and what that could end up being. And they don't like to always flex primetime games. And what could be interesting is if this game ends up being on Fox, which I think it's going to be because it's 2 NFC teams, the thing with this is it may be protected. And if it's protected, they can't flex it. Fox and CBS have the right to protect as a certain amount of games a year that prevents it from being flexed. You get your matchups like I don't think I actually have it pulled up right now. Bills Chiefs is a 4:25 game. Guarantee you that's been protected by likely CBS because it's a huge game. And you got to have that kind of huge game. You have to. And if you don't, well, you're not doing yourself a good service if you're CBS. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. And let's kind of go through the schedule here really quick because I have a lot of work to do to kind of talk about this. Opening up at the New York Giants. The last time the Minnesota Vikings faced the New York Giants, 31-24 loss in the playoffs. Ed Donatello's gone. Brian Flores is probably going to cook the living daylights out of Daniel Jones. And it's going to be a good way to see some of these new defenders, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Week 2, we come back home.
Opener.
Yeah, home opener, San Francisco 49ers. Going to be a hell of a good time. And I'm excited to kind of see what that looks like. It should be noted last year that when the Minnesota Vikings beat the San Francisco 49ers, there was no Trent Williams, but there was also no Justin Jefferson. So it was almost fair in that sense. Oh, you lost your big superstar, so did we. But both teams are going to be at full force. Sam Darnold is likely going to start that game against his former team, where he was the backup to Brock Purdy last year, ended up starting one game. So we'll see how that manifests itself. We'll see kind of what that looks like. And I'm really excited to kind of see. And then we have the Houston Texans.
That's
week 3.
Gonna be fun.
That's going to be incredible. You know why? Danielle Hunter and Stefon Diggs return to US Bank Stadium for the first time. And people aren't talking about Stefon Diggs returning for the first time. Talking about Danielle Hunter. And that's fair. Diggs has already played the Vikings once. Remember that he and Justin Jefferson exchanged insane catches in that week. What was it? Week 10 game in 2022.
Right, where we won.
But what the one interesting thing about this, Dave, is that CJ Stroud and Will Anderson set the blueprint for how the Vikings kind of ended up utilizing their draft process this year. And what I mean by that is they got their quarterback, then they traded up for the edge rusher. Now, they made it more significant jump going from 12 to 3 than 23 to 17, but it jumped nonetheless. And the Vikings kind of used that model. Now, Stroud and Anderson were both rookies of the year. They won the offensive and defensive rookie of the year awards. So a big spot to look up, to kind of replicate for McCarthy and Dallas Turner. But I think Turner has a real shot. And if McCarthy started, dynamic is going to be very interesting.
Your internet just flipped out.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that on my side. It's kind of like just funny. Okay. Week 4. The Green Bay Packers. And I think this is an important one because the Vikings are going to Lambeau Field when, well, it's just warm. And it being warm, that's a good thing because now you don't have to deal with the elements unless it's raining. And if it's raining, well, nobody plays good in the rain. So that's going to negatively impact the Packers just as much as it is the Vikings. So it's not like cold where cold weather teams just kind of play better. Rain sucks. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. And then week 5, face Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. This could be a really interesting game because if Sam Darnold stinks in these first 5 games, then use the bye week to get JJ McCarthy ready. You name him the starter on the Monday after this game when you have your press conference, and then you go. I'm really intrigued to kind of see what everything's going to look like with how this team is shaping up. There's a chance you're 5-0, 0-5, or anything in between. I don't know how they're going to start. I don't know what Sam Darnold's going to look like with this offense, with this group of players. That aspect is going to be very interesting.
Well, I talked to Jonas Stark today. He's going to try to make this game.
Oh, nice.
For us.
I hope he does. That
is our contributor from Germany.
Yeah, that would be dope if he was able to make it. Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that. And then you have the bye week 6, which a week 6 bye, not so great, but it's fine. It's objectively fine. And yeah. And then you get the Motor City Kitties. Sorry, I am typing as I as I'm doing the show because like I said, I'm doing a lot, but that's okay. That is okay. Chris, not like I can afford it, and not like it would be really hard for me to do all my coverage while traveling across the world. So, but it would be fun. Yeah, I think this is an important one for the Vikings. They're going to need to figure this out. And mainly, they're not just going to have to figure it out. They're going to have a week to figure it out.
Right.
And having a week to figure it out. Yeah, having a week to figure it out is going to be really important because this Dan Campbell team is good.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we may see J.J. McCarthy. This is one of those inflection points. We could see him week 1. We could see him week 7. We could see him later in the season. But this is one of those points.
Yes, it absolutely is one of those points. Yeah, we're going to have a lot more on this coming up because there's so many different talking points that we're going to be able to kind of discuss. And we'll have a much bigger breakdown next week when we have these conversations because, well, next week, we're going to have real time to kind of dissect and figure it out. And I think that's really important to having some of these conversations is we'll have time to figure it out. And I want to have time to figure it out. I want to have time to get you guys all the best details here. And we're going to do it. All right. Week 8, Thursday Night Football, Los Angeles Rams. The last time the Vikings went to Los Angeles for a Thursday night game, Dave, it didn't go so well. That was the infamous game where in 2018 where Mike Zimmer's defense was exposed and Anthony Barr ended up having to cover wide receivers on wheel routes and stuff, and he just got absolutely flamed. But that was just a Sean McVay masterclass. It was not the fault of anybody else. McVay just torched him. So, but it'd also be Kevin O'Connell facing McVay for the first time,
which would be good, interesting,
very interesting.
Kevin and this learned since then.
This one is going to be very interesting too, because the last time the Indianapolis Colts were here, Dave, things didn't go so well. They did not go so well.
Didn't go well for us in the first half, and didn't go well for them in the second.
No. It didn't go well at all. 34-6 in 2016. Andrew Luck was the starting quarterback. Now it's Anthony Richardson, and I love Anthony Richardson. I think the world of him. And we'll kind of see how that ends up playing, how that ends up.
That wasn't the last time we played the Colts.
At US Bank, it is.
No.
Oh, no, it isn't.
We played them. We had the biggest comeback.
We played them 2 years ago. I am an idiot. I completely forgot about that game, which is one of the more memorable games in all of
biggest comeback in NFL history.
Mm-hmm. But Anthony Richardson comes to town, and I am very excited for that. I'm really hoping for credentials because I want to see Richardson and Stroud live. And it's not exactly going to be. Oh, here we go. Preseason schedule. August 10th versus the Raiders at 3 p.m. August 17th at the Browns at 3:25 p.m. August 24th at Eagles noon. Are those all Saturdays? Let's look at the calendar. Those are all Saturdays. The Vikings have 3 Saturday preseason games.
That's unusual.
FT Maddie Man asked how I could forget that game. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I am running on fumes today. I'm very tired, and I think that's why I forgot it. Amazing that I did. Week 10, it starts a pivotal 6-game stretch. Why is it pivotal? 3 road and 3 home. Back to back. So the Vikings start off on the road at Jacksonville in week 10, where they'll take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. That will be a really interesting game. It'll be fun to kind of see how everything ends up manifesting with what the Jaguars look like with this, that, and the other thing. I'm really, really intrigued by that matchup. And I'm intrigued to see what the Jaguars look like with kind of their revamped wide receiver core. Can their offensive line take a step forward? What about their defense? Like, there's a lot of question marks with the Jaguars, but they have the quarterback. So I'm very fascinated to see that. And then the Tennessee Titans are next. 3 straight games against the AFC South, and the Vikings will be done against the AFC by week 11. What are the Titans going to be? You have Will Levis. What about him? Is he going to be any good? We don't know. We have no clue if Will Levis is any good. We should know by week 11. We should. And then week 12, the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams' first chance to face Brian Flores. What's Flores going to have on him? What's Flores going to do? I'm really intrigued by that. I'm really intrigued by how everything's going to look. And yeah, that's going to be a fun one. But then after this game comes 3 at home to start December. The Vikings in December, Dave, play. I think they play one game outside, and it's in Seattle. What a final stretch. They start with the Cardinals, and then the Kirk Cousins game the day after my birthday against the Atlanta Falcons. And that's going to be a big one. And then finally, to finish off the home stretch, you get the Bears week 15. This is a Monday night game. Last year's Monday night game was 12-10. That was the disastrous Josh Dobbs performance. I mean, look, nothing went right in that game. Nothing went right for the Vikings in that game. And then week 16, you travel to Seattle. The only 3:00 start for the Minnesota Vikings is the Seattle Seahawks. And weather gets weird in Seattle. So if it's cold, it's going to be like 40 because it's Seattle. Seattle just has a different type of temperature. And then week 17, the Vikings the last 2 years have faced the Packers on week 17. Well, it hasn't gone well. A 24-point loss followed by a 23-point loss. Will this year be a 22-point loss, or will they finally get those demons exercised? Genuinely don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. And these last 2 games against divisional opponents, 3 of the last 4 against the division, could be really interesting in deciding the division because it projects to be a very competitive NFC North this year. Finally, the Motor City Kitties. The only game we don't know the time of because it could have division implications. If the Vikings were to get flexed, this would be the game I would guess that gets flexed because the Vikings and Lions are fighting for a playoff spot or they're fighting for the division. And I think if you're going to have one to guess that gets flexed, it's going to be this one.
I would take the Falcons for the storylines there, but you may be right.
The one thing that we talked about earlier, though, Dave, is you're competing against games that are already set in stone. Mm-hmm. And week 18 is a very fluid schedule because they want to have it set specifically for the playoffs. So it could end up being the playoffs, meaning the playoffs. So I think that's going to be fun to watch. But that is your Minnesota Vikings schedule. The first 5 games are pretty rough. The Giants aren't a slouch. They're not good, but they're not a team you can walk over. And then you get the juggernaut of 49ers, Texans, Packers. And then if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, the Jets are going to be good too. So there's a realistic chance that the team is 1-4 after 5 games. And that's not to say I'm predicting it, but we have to be real. That's a tough stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the Vikings probably end up 2-3. And that's not that bad, but you have to come out of the bye and go 3-2 in your next 5. And then, but in that next 5, the next 6 games, 4 of them are on the road. The 6 games coming out of the bye, 4 are on the road. That's a tough one. But then to finish the year, you get 4 out of the last 6 at home, including home games against the Bears and the Packers.
Yep, most of December.
Yeah. The one tough and interesting thing about the Minnesota Vikings schedule and every schedule, you don't really know how good a team is going to be. Reason being, you can only project. But once you get on the field, things can change like that.
Yep.
A team that went 4-13 last year could go 13-4 this year, or vice versa. You don't know. You think you know, but you don't. The Vikings, we thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders in 2018. They went 8-8. We didn't think that the Eagles were going to be Super Bowl contenders in 2017, or really big time playoff contenders. They won the damn thing. You just don't know. And I'm very intrigued by this. We're going to have a lot more discussion about the schedule. We're going to break it down by sections. We're going to break it down, talking about little things, talking about big picture stuff, talking about the storylines, favorite matchups, the least advantageous placements on the schedule. There's going to be a lot to talk about, and we're going to bring it here for you. And this is the number one spot for you to get your Minnesota Vikings coverage. Vikings first and SKOL, and then myself over at the Sporting News.
Now, you talked about how networks can freeze games, and it's a battle of networks.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as the NFL may not want it, they're setting it up that way. We had a tweet today from Pro Football Talk on, if you want to watch every game, you need these services. So, and that's not quite right. You know, I've got Sunday Ticket, obviously, for being out of town.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in town, you're going to get most likely all your games. But this is a list of everything you need. Just like it was announced earlier today, the Christmas games, they're on Netflix. Netflix got a deal, $150 million per game. They're paying the NFL to broadcast those. So, and that's $300 million extra a year for however long. I think it was a 4-year contract, something like that, 4 or 5-year contract. And there will be 2 Christmas games a year. So it's a lot of networks competing. That's why they do not want to give up, say, to move a noon game that's on Fox over to Sunday night on NBC. That's why they do that.
Yeah.
And if Grateful Dad is here, still watching, he can recognize those Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
Not those Bears. The Bears I've got up there. They're the dancing Bears.
I know. Anyways, guys, I can't remember where they're from, but I remember them.
The Grateful Dead, baby.
So, fun fact, we are going to get a Super Bowl rematch this year. The Chiefs are going to take on the San Francisco 49ers in Week 7.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, that is our show. We're going to have a lot more, and we're hopefully going to have this thing with Roadcaster 100% figured out. It's at this point, it's just driving us bonkers because all we can do is say sorry, and we're doing everything we can. It is 100% out of our hands, which sucks. Absolutely sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Dave said he just left a message about the Echo on Facebook. We'll take a look. And
I'll take a look, but that's not on a Mac. We're running on a Mac.
Oh, you are running on a Mac? I'm not running on a Mac.
No, I am. But it's coming from me. We're getting system audio from me. That's where it's coming from. And why it's coming from there, I have no idea. I have nothing open other than Ecamm. We should not. It should not be the same. And I can go to my system settings, and it's mapped right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what's driving us nuts. It's we feel like we're doing everything right, and we've gone through all the checks and balances. We even had a call with Rode, and
multiple calls with Rode.
Yeah,
and we'll have another one tomorrow. Reopen the ticket,
and we'll figure it out. Yeah, marry me too. I get to have all the holidays off this year. I'm excited about that. I don't have to work Christmas Eve. I don't have to work Christmas Day. I don't have to work Thanksgiving. I don't have to work New Year's. I can be a human on those days. Thank you, God. And with that, I want to say thank you to everybody saying nice things in the comments. Steven, especially you about the dedication. That really means a lot. If you guys like what you hear, like, subscribe, ring the bell, because we'll do some live spots here and there. With that being said, thank you for joining us here on this schedule release day. We're going to have a lot more for you next week. I'm Tyler. He's Dave. SKOL Vikings, everybody.
SKOL Vikings. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications. It helps us grow this community that we all love, our Minnesota Vikings. And on behalf of Tyler Forness and myself, Dave Stefano, thank you so dearly for watching the Real Forno Show. SKOL, everyone.